Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome everybody to the May edition of the Tips and Tricks SIG. Our format will be as usual. We'll have our open forum, and then I had sent out a list of topics of things that we could discuss. So, who'd like to open up the floor with the first question of the evening?
Everybody volunteer.
Everyone, but yeah. This is a tough crowd, very tough crowd.
Did you watch the Google I.O. today?
No.
No, what was on Google I.O.? I'm sorry, I did not. Anyone here watch it before?
No.
Didn't
What's
know
it about?
They announced all the projects that they're working on, even though they didn't really announce much that they have to try and compare to ChatGPT or any kind of I.O. stuff. They talked about it, but they don't seem to have much of any of it yet. So they talked about, this is coming out in June, and this is coming out in September, and this is coming out. They probably named 50 different programs you never heard of.
Really?
That they're, quote, working on.
Shit.
You could probably go back and watch it if you want, but it's 2 hours actually. And that's just, I didn't watch the developer part. This was just sort of the consumer thing because they're trying to catch up with the AI stuff.
Sure. But Apple's even farther behind, but they are in the process of trying to catch up on AI too.
Well, everybody has to. That's just a change of the
That's right.
basics.
You either catch up or you become obsolete.
The thing that surprised me the most is that they have all new names for everything that they're doing. You've never heard of any of these names before for the most part. And, so on one side, we see once in a while they delete or stop making some program or whatever. But they got so many things that they talked about for futures. It's so overwhelming to just think about how many things they put on. Well, it was all, there were a couple live demos, but not that much.
I heard they come out with this version 4 of GPT.
Oh, that's been around for quite a while. It's just that not everybody, I think 4 you have to pay for. So like CoPilot for Microsoft is based on ChatGPT 4.
Okay. Well,
Some of them are
apparently
free, but some of them, they're working on 5, so they're
Right.
tend to
Okay.
give away 4.
Apparently there was some sort of problem when they were demonstrating this, so I don't know.
But they were all demonstrations that are live are impossible.
Yeah.
They did a video demonstration at the Google I/O too, where they had one of their apps. You has on your phone, you would take their camera and point it to something, and it would tell you what it was.
Yeah.
Even pointing out the window and telling you what city they were in. Even interpreting things like 2 pictures of cats and talking about what the philosophy behind it was. Is saying, where's my glasses? Because they had walked around the room and passed everything. And it said, okay, go over here to get your glasses. It sounds good, but, again, how useful it's going to be remains to be seen.
Well, that's always true. And that's why some of their products disappear because they either didn't go over well enough or they were okay for a while, but then everything went downhill and they ended up discontinuing it.
Well, that's what I mean. If they announced that they were working on 50 different things, they're obviously, that phone thing I talked about was 1. And so there's lots of things going on, things being integrated. But of course, all these things are nice to talk about as ideas. Whether you can ever make them work and be able to put them out in the public remains to be seen. And then the fact is, everybody's going to compete with you to provide those services. So if they had one idea that somebody else didn't have, those other people are going to be working on it today.
Well, they're also like that, taking a picture of an item and it tells you what it is or how much it costs and stuff like that. Others have already been there. So they're catching up on that one idea.
Right, but of course, it wasn't, they didn't show anything quite the same way of saying, show me all the shoe uh, web pages for people selling shoes exactly. They, did it differently by saying, here's a picture of shoes, now go find it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And since we normally do a search in Google or in Chrome or whatever, basically you would get a list of different things coming up. And this was more like it would just pick it for you. And that doesn't mean that's what you wanted exactly.
True.
When we say, search for CCS, and you get 1,200,000 answers. It wasn't anything that they did showed that kind of a response, did they? Anyway, I just thought I'd keep everybody up to date on that one.
Didn't one of the, was it ChatGBT or CoPilot that came out with one that responds to verbal commands?
Yes.
Well, OpenAI did yesterday's announcements, and I didn't see what that was.
CoPilot has a microphone. If you click on it and it's set up correctly in your machine, yes, you can speak your question. It'll type it out. You hit enter. The microphone goes back to white, meaning it's off. And so it's only on when you click on it and while you're speaking. If you stop for 10 or 15 seconds or pause because you're thinking, it may turn the mic off.
Right.
Well, some of what they're looking for is more conversational to
Yes.
the IO.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you ask for something, and then you can dig deeper by asking more detail on it and more detail on that.
Conversational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like you might be in a store and see people doing shopping and they're talking into the bottom of their phone like an iPhone, and they're probably using Siri, but that'll all change over to AI bots. And there is a new browser out, originally made for Apple products, called Arc. And I have it on 2 machines, but I'm not ready to demo it. I have only played with it a little bit. They think it's the replacement for Chrome browser, number one, because it's better. And number two, Apple developed a long time ago for software development a language they call Swift. And they now have a Windows 11 version of Arc that runs on 11, and they're working on trying to get one to work on Windows 10. If and when they have one for Linux, that would be down the road.
Never heard of this Arc browser. Anyone else heard of this?
Just
I went to
The
the
name come up.
stick in your browser in a tab, empty tab net, arc.net.
I went to the site and saw the description, and it does something that I would find counterproductive. It has the ability to split the browser into 2 halves, but it splits it with a vertical line. And for most web pages, they're not designed for that. They're way too wide.
Well, you don't have to use that feature.
No, but what I'm saying is the features they're selling it with are absolutely counterproductive.
Well, the other thing is, here, stop on that. There is no browsers on the top. On the left side is a panel. That's where your favorites and your tabs for websites are at. And there's, hang loose, don't go any further. Oh no. Top left corner, there's a star-like, and then next to it, that will close the panel so you get the full screen. Click it. Oh, you
Well,
can't. Never mind. You
It's
click
not
it.
installed.
That panel will disappear so you get the full browser screen. Click that same thing again, and the panel comes back so you can select some other tab or favorite.
I
So-
like that feature. I like that feature.
So you could have each one of these pictures here is a different browsing window.
Yes, because
Oh, that's pretty.
if you
That's pretty cool.
if you come up to the button between the minimize and close button on the left, it will show you the same thing that Edge shows you and Windows 11 will show you in selecting how to arrange your open documents and websites.
Your desktop you're talking about.
Okay, the other thing that ARC advertises is that it can conserve memory, presumably by snoozing tabs and active content.
Yes.
Chrome also is able to do that now.
Yeah, Edge does it too, and that. But I mean, I've never been happy with any of them doing it when I need or want to do it.
Yeah. Again, there are pros and cons of each way of doing these
Oh
things.
yes. Now, here's
Also, the programming language Swift, that is an improvement because that is a much better performing programming language.
well, it's a good development language from the sounds of it. But the other
Yeah.
thing is, if you download this for it only has 11 in Mac right now. Eventually, maybe Windows 10. I don't know about Linux, but generally speaking, when you download it and you execute the download, it actually downloads the program current version. You may get a new version almost every week right now. Now, on top of it, you will have to log in just to make it work. The only option you have is to close that, create an account for ARC. If you do that, you'll have to reload the whole program again. You got to create the account in order to be able to use the browser. That's one thing I don't like.
Well, that's just because it's a preview. I think that will change.
That could, but until I see it change, right now I'm just experimenting on 2 machines, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think originally you had to be invited to participate with this,
No.
but since then, I think they opened it up some.
Oh, they did open it up. If you create an account on that very first page that pops up, they let you in. You got the account. You use the browser all you want. But if you don't create the account, you can't use the browser until you do. And you will have to reload the whole browser in order to get that one screen back to create your account.
So, other than the gallery and split screen, what other unique features does ARC have?
Okay, we're used to doing a lot of things in the upper right hand corner. Well, you still have some things there, but other things moved over to the left side, like on a Mac. Now, whether they'll change that on the Windows version, I don't know offhand. And you can add extensions because it's based on Chromium browser, the foundation of Chrome browser. So you can go to the Chrome web store and any extensions you put in your Chrome browser, Edge, and many, many others based on Chromium, you can add the same extensions into this Arc browser.
But it is not using the Chromium engine?
It's I think using the Chromium engine, but I'm not positive of that. All I know is they took the source code and rewrote it in the Swift. So that's why I think it might be the same engine, but when you're translating from one language, programming language to another, you never know if you're going to get 100% or not, and usually you don't.
Okay, so they sort of translated the Chromium engine using Swift so that it would be maybe more compatible with Mac and iOS initially.
Yeah, and then it became perfectly fine for Windows, so it took a little longer because the Mac version came out nearly a year ago.
Yeah.
So, and the Windows 11 version just came out in April.
Okay.
And so it probably took 10 to 12 months for them to figure out how to make a Windows 11 version. How long it'll take them to get a Windows 10 working version, I don't know.
It would seem to me that given how Linux and Mac are kind of related, it would be easier to make the Linux version. But
I
there's less of an audience.
I concur, at least on the Debian side. Now, whether they do an RPM or an Arch, that's another story.
Those are just packaging. That's not a big deal. They could do a flat pack and not have a problem.
They might have that in mind, but I haven't heard anything about anything for Linux yet.
No, they would do that last because there's not that much of an audience.
Yeah. They're trying to get to the biggest audiences right now.
This is in Windows 11 now, you said?
Yes, Windows 11 and Mac are the current ones. Windows 10 is likely next, and maybe someday Linux.
I go to the Microsoft store and it doesn't show up.
No, it ain't going to be in Microsoft Store.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, open up a browser tab, type in arc.net. Done.
Okay.
God knows if and when they'll put it in the Microsoft Store, but they might wait until they have a version for 10. I don't know.
Yeah, I get the download button from their homepage. I'm in Windows 11 as a limited user, so I could do it.
With Windows 10 going away fairly soon, I'm really surprised they're not putting more effort into Linux. As a Linux user, I would like to see a version I could play with. Tried running it under Wine, no success, not a surprise there.
Well, I mean, Wine has never had a high success rate. Mostly it's for gamers to be able to transfer Windows games to Linux. And it also did some past versions of Office reasonably well. But beyond that, it's very difficult. And but Edge was ported by Microsoft to Linux, so you can run Linux on Debian. I don't know if it's available on RPM and Arch. So it's one of these things that they're looking at market share. It was Mac developers who decided to create this for Mac people who use Chrome heavily. And now they said, well, let's go for another big niche, which is 11. And they're working on 10 because it's even bigger than 11 in market share. And Linux is the smallest market share.
I'm really surprised how many people are still using Windows 10 and have not made the jump to 11. And I do understand the hardware issues on it, but Other than that, I would expect a bigger share.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Stop, because I'm talking to you on a Windows 11 on a 15-year-old CPU.
Well done.
No, it's easy. I'm not kidding. But here's the kicker. If you got a Windows a compliant machine, and I got many, you can download the normal 11 either as an upgrade, or you can download it from Microsoft, put it on a flash drive, and you can do a clean install if you choose to do so. Now, there is also a way of downloading it that will bypass some of the restrictions on 11's hardware platform. It's called Windows 11 unsupported. If you do not call up Microsoft to solve your Windows problems, and you use user groups or your own resources, you are okay. But there is a new wrinkle coming out in Windows 11 24H2 upgrade due this September or October. And it's going to look for a microcode inside the CPU chip. Now, the machine I'm on right now talking to you will not be able to run 24H2. If I load it in, or it automatically loads in, it will stop allowing the computer to boot up. The machine that I've got right next to it is an AMD about the same age. It will continue to run 24H2 and beyond. But I can't tell you exactly. If you've got a label on the computer that says inside is Intel Core, not Intel Core 2, it has a chance of being able to run 24H2 unsupported 11. It has to do with that microcode. Somebody wrote a Linux program. You only get the source code. You have to compile it yourself to run the source code. And it'll tell you if the pop count, POPCNT instruction is in your CPU chip, whether you're running a AMD or a Intel processor. But I don't know if I can create a Windows executable. So if I cannot, eventually when I can get time to get to it, I will compile this thing. I will make a Linux flash drive with extra space on it, put a copy of the executable there, give it permissions, and I can boot any computer off of that USB stick, run the program, and it'll check the CPU chip.
Now, my computer here says it has an Intel Core i5.
Yeah, that's Core I, which is fine.
Yeah, no. It may be fine. We don't know if count was put in all the chips in AMD and in Intel Core chips. And
Yeah, the question then is, how old is this Core i5 that we're talking about here?
okay, the pop instruction was
Wait. Let's listen for the answer. How old
2
is it?
years old.
the pop.
2 years, and what generation is it? Do you know?
I
7,
think
8,
it's 12. I think it's 12.
12
Oh, yeah.
gen is
Yeah,
excellent.
you probably got that, so I wouldn't worry about it. But bottom line is, the pop count instruction was developed 66 years ago. There were no microcomputers then, and it wasn't being used other than for government security purposes until Intel Core processors and AMD Phonom 2 processors and beyond. Some or all of those have the pop count instruction, but I cannot find anything right now that says all of them have it. So it's like there's a way of doing TPM2 without having a plug-in on the motherboard through a CPU instruction set that can be turned on in updated BIOS. That gives you compliance for 11 in newer 8th generation or higher. And so if the pop count was put in every Intel Core processor, they will support unsupported version of Windows 11. So all you have to do is have Rufus Portable on a Windows 10 machine. You can download Windows 11. It will automatically change it so that it can be installed as unsupported on a machine, and take your chances. That's what it amounts to. A lot of people, when they heard about this restriction in 24H2, they took out their unsupported version of 11 and went back to 10, which is going to disappear in about 15 months. It's end of life.
Yeah, but I don't see people upgrading.
No, a lot of them won't, but a lot of them don't know that they can continue using Windows 11 unsupported if their CPU chip is not more than about 10 to 15 years old, somewhere in that ballpark, I think.
Now, another question. What is this pop count instruction needed for in Windows 11?
Technically, not a damn thing other than to be compliant. If it doesn't have it, the 24H2 installation is designed to check for that pop instruction. If it's not there, it will not allow you to boot up your computer. You will have to.
What I'm asking is, are there any new features
No.
that will require it?
No.
Is it needed for AI, for example?
No.
Okay. They
At
just
least
decided.
I haven't seen anything other than to make certain, like in my case here, the machine I'm on right now is a Core 2 Quad and a Core 2 Dual. Can run unsupported 23H2 and prior. But you let it go and upgrade to 24H2, as soon as you restart the computer, it ain't going to start.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, what was this instruction ever used for before?
Originally, I think it was created by the NSA as a NAS, excuse me. No, NSA, I was right
NSA.
the first time. National Security Council, and it was used for something then, but I don't remember what the details were. And then it seemed to go into disuse after a while, except for maybe on government computers. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if Microsoft was looking way ahead or not, but they probably talked to Intel and said, put this instruction in. We aren't going to need it, but we're going to use it possibly down the road to for hardware compliance. And I think that's all it's for.
I'm looking up what it says on the net about that.
Okay.
What is the use of pop count? And all it does is it could be used to validate things that have ones and zeros in them.
Yeah. That's what
so
it was.
it might have been an early security thing.
Yeah, it was, and it went into disuse. Somehow, Intel and I think AMD put the pop count instruction back in, and now Microsoft's going to use it to add another hardware compliance. But the funny part is, most people don't have as old hardware as I've got in front of me right now. Okay, So
Yeah.
odds are any laptop and a computer the majority of people have is going to probably work unsupported or supported on your computer.
Okay, so what Microsoft is making use of is that this instruction distinguishes between the chips they want you to use and the chips they don't want you to use.
Basically, like I said, a Core 2 Duo or Quad will not work, and also an AMD Phonom chip will not work, but an AMD Phonom 2, which is a second version of the Phonom chip, does work.
I'm just looking at my CPU. It's a 12th generation Intel Core i5-1235U.
You're
No,
great.
you
You're in
got
good shape.
you got a 13 then, because after the dash, the two numbers 1 3 is 13, not 12.
Intel has been changing that,
Oh, okay.
so it could be a 12th gen.
Normally they only incremented when they put out a new chip, so it sounds like a 13th generation chip, not a 12.
It
And
says
12,
12th generation.
12.
i3,
Just a minute.
it says 12th
Just a minute.
generation
Hang
Intel.
on.
Just a minute. Please, for a minute.
Yeah.
12 and 13 are simpatico. You can swap the two chips in the same motherboard. You cannot use 11 or prior, and you cannot use version 14. And if this fall they come out with 15, you can't use those in that motherboard.
Okay.
This is the way it works. Now, there are some systems, and I've got some, that will restrict you to, like, say, the 12th chip. You have to have a different motherboard to go to the 13th. And if you got the 13th, you cannot go back always, but sometimes you can go back to the 12th.
All right, Burt had his hand up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Has anybody run into an error on Windows 10 that ends in a 643?
Pass that by again. 643.
643. It's a like an early number, a series of numbers, but then it ends in 643, so that's the easiest thing to remember. It turns out that apparently they did something where, in order to get all the security updates, or let that process work for upgrading it, it ran out of buffer space. It had like a 256 character space or meg space, and in order to fix it, you would have to literally take everything off your computer, change the parameters, and then put everything back on, which may not be possible.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's KB5034441. And
No,
it's,
mine's a 643.
well, just a minute. 41 is the original, and it's made for Windows 10, and they're not going to fix it. On 11, they made a new version, and what it amounts to is the system resource tool Partition is normally about 500, just a little over 500 megabytes. You have to use a partition manager, which almost less than probably 0.5% of the people know how to use, and increase it to about 800 to 850 megabytes, and suddenly that will work. But they may fix this on.
I understand, but I think, there may be more than one, because mine always says 643 as the last characters. But it's one of the few things that I've ever seen where Microsoft said they're not fixing it.
Yes, and that's because on some systems, this resource partition appears before your C partition, and in some systems, that partition appears after the C partition. And the only way they could probably fix it, they have to shrink your C partition by about 300 megabytes in size, which takes quite a while to do, and then expand that resource partition on the correct side. Then the tools they want to put in there will be installed.
Yeah, just to be clear to anybody who doesn't understand what we're talking about yet, this was a change in the Windows recovery partition that was done for security reasons. If you use BitLocker, it's important that you try to get this to work. If you're not using BitLocker, you should just leave it alone. If it won't install, hide it.
Well, the other thing, yes, he's saying hide the update so that it doesn't keep
Yeah.
popping up. But
Right.
the other thing is there may be additional tools in that partition that can be useful if you start running into problems on your computer. So it's a combination of things primarily caused by BitLocker. So it's mostly for business purposes unless you're an individual that's using BitLocker, because it came on your computer and you didn't disable it. So the easiest thing to do, in my book, unless you have a good reason to continue using BitLocker, is disable BitLocker. If you take your laptop or tablet computer outside of your home a lot, then you might want to keep BitLocker active. But you can just turn it off when you need to and turn it back on only when you think you're going to need it. But because of the security flaw, somebody can break into your secured system.
How do you know if you've got this problem?
When you go to do Windows Update, it doesn't go through, it gives you an error.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes back with an error. On Windows 10, it's KB5034441, and they have a different number for Windows 11. Ending in 643, is that right, Burt?
Well, but it's on 10 that I get 643.
Oh, I didn't
Well,
have
my
the
11's no problem.
That's the error code. The error code ends in 643.
Okay,
Right.
so
Not the KB number.
yeah, the KB number ends in 4441. Now, what you have to do.
The recovery partition size of Windows needs to be changed
It's
On some machines.
It's
On
a
some machines.
It's a
on some
recovery
machines.
tool.
In other
Yeah,
words,
I don't get
it
every
has.
machine, only
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, not every machine, as Burt says. Not
Okay.
every machine. The recovery partition has been, over the years, made bigger and bigger. It started out as being only a couple of hundred megabytes. Now the size that they recommend is over 800 megabytes. I made mine 1.2 megabytes based on 1.2 gigabytes rather, 1200 megabytes based on online advice. And when I did it, I made a real mess of my Linux partitions.
Yeah, so far I changed it on some systems, not all, and I'm not concerned about it. On one system, I hid the update so that it won't bug me. I could unhide it and change the partition size and let it run again, and it'll do what it's supposed to do. But
Well,
that's because
hiding
I know how to use the
the one
partition.
sometime, if it get that error, it blocks some of the other updates for security,
It can.
loading.
Hmm. Oh, they won't load until you hide this one.
Yeah,
But if you hide this one, everything will be fine.
you have to look up on the internet. There's a tool for hiding unwanted updates.
And there's also a PowerShell script.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can right click on things to also get past them.
This one I don't think you
it's-
can.
That seems like a bit of a kludge with Microsoft updates. You really want the Windows updates to be working properly.
Right. And so it's best to find the tool that you can understand and use and hide
Yeah.
the one that's causing the failure, which is KB 503-4441, and it won't bother you anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That was a good subject. Does anyone else have anything more to add to this or have an open forum question? Topics for tonight? Anyone want to comment about the topics?
What's the topic? You
Want me
have.
to put them, I can put them in the chat.
I'm looking at the list. You have a Wired article. Do you want to tell us something about that? And then after that, you have this automation made.
Put them in the chat, Sanford.
Oh, okay. All right. You got to give me a moment to get there to do that.
Okay, so we're putting off the tunnel vision attack for a little while.
Yeah.
And we're
Just-
going over to chat.
The chat, and I will put this thing. Where is this thing?
You, Terry, you got the invite to get into this meeting that has the whole list.
You're right.
No kidding, I'm right.
You're right. I need to take the time to look at it. You're right.
The only chat type of question in the invite was how to disable CoPilot.
Okay, let's see if I can get this over there. Not be sent because it's.
Oh, you're talking about the last item.
Yeah, hold on.
Windows 11 CoPilot.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got the tunnel vision article. You got this
Yeah.
automation made easy with a bot. It.
Yep. That's the same document I was reading from.
I got another thing I could bring up in the meantime while you're deciding. I have a situation where I have a computer that was my daughter's that when I go to log in, it comes back and says it's locked up for 30 days.
Jeez.
Locked up for
Anybody ever run into that?
Which account is this again?
It's just a desktop computer.
Oh, is it?
And they go to log in with the password, and when it boots up, and it comes back and says it's locked up for 30 days.
That means she's probably tried it so many friggin' times. It keeps adding more and more time for each failure. And it's gotten to the point where it's got 30 days before it will let you log in with the correct password.
Which makes it even more confusing because her daughter used that computer too. And so whose password was the last one used to be able to open it up?
Well, you would have to get into an administrator account to be able to override.
You can't get past the first screen.
Pardon?
You can't get past the first screen. It's
Well,
locked
how
up
many
completely.
on the computer? How many accounts are showing in the bottom left corner?
You can't see that much.
It doesn't get that far. You're
Right.
going to have to use a Windows recovery key.
Yeah, you're going to have to use
Well,
Windows Recovery.
I can do it if I wipe the machine, but I
No, you don't have to do that.
On your 11 machine.
Don't misunderstand. I already tried the Windows recovery key.
Well, if you got the recovery key, stick it in that machine.
It won't do anything. It won't get that far, and it won't accept it, and it keeps coming back with the 30 days.
What brand is the machine?
It's a Dell.
So that would be,
It's probably an older Dell.
I think that's F11 when it's just coming up before it even gets there. We'll put
I
you
tried doing
into,
that, but
you gotta go to advanced.
I
You have to
did
go-
that, but I couldn't get in anyway.
So, is it possible that her account has been hacked on that machine?
Could have been.
And why not just get another hard drive and put that in there and just do a,
Well, I'm not trying to save the computer. I'm trying to see if there's any data on there.
okay.
I can't get to her email accounts.
Well, then you should learn how to use Linux because it would be able to read what's on the disk and save any files you want to.
Yeah, unless it's BitLocker encrypted, yes.
Even if it's BitLocker encrypted, if you take it out and you put it into a cloner.
Yeah, right. I know I could take the drive out. I just
Yeah.
haven't done that yet.
Well, anyway, you probably can get to the data, get the account information, grab all the email. That should be possible. Also, from Linux, there may be something you can run that will unlock it.
Yes, some versions do have that ability. Well, actually, what they do is they blank out the password.
Yeah. You can get rid of the password, then it has no password, and you put a new one in.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Isn't this fun?
Sorry to interrupt.
So there's hope.
Okay. Back to our list.
Yes.
And the question was, the very first one that was on there was sent to me by one of our members.
That's fine.
Who wanted me to the subject.
That's perfectly
And
fine.
so I will bring up about this VPN attack. Tunnel vision attacks nearly all VPNs vulnerable to spying. Don't know anything much about this.
Go scroll down first couple paragraph, second paragraph.
Oh, so this VPN service was
No. Read the second paragraph.
okay. Tunnel Vision have named their attack largely negates the entire purpose and selling point of VPN.
In other words,
this is encapsulated incoming and outgoing internets in an encrypted tunnel, and to cloak the user's IP address. The researchers believe it's all an application's hostile network, and there's no ways to prevent such an attack except when the user's VPNs run on Linux or Android. They also said the attack technique may have been possible since 2002. Burt.
So basically, what it's saying, unless you're on Linux or you are on Android phone running a VPN, your VPN is potentially worthless because anybody who figures out what these researchers figured out would be able to see any and all traffic.
Yeah, and the problem is it's not your computer that's the problem. It's the server that hosts the VPN. It's the target server. And the target server's owner would have to either disallow option whatever it is, option 121, which is a little difficult, or they would have to use the Linux workaround. They won't be running Android. But Android on your phone could still use a VPN because Android doesn't support this option. And what they're basically doing is poisoning the encryption, the encrypted tunnel.
Well, you can also have poisoned DNS servers that you are relying upon to translate a URL into the numeric address to make the connection and go to a phony baloney site. That's
Actu-
a very
Yeah,
old technique.
actually, it's not the DNS server. It's the
No,
DHCP.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is like the DNS poisoning thing. It's
Similar.
a case of a ability to be able to foil some of the security. Theoretically, every ISP has their own DNS server, and when if you don't use another DNS server, then every time you put in a URL to like go google.com, it goes to the DNS server of your ISP, looks up the numeric address, and that's how it connects you to Google. Well, somebody with the right knowledge can hack into that DNS server, change the values of one or more of the addresses that are in that lookup, and send you to a phony baloney site. And if you're not smart enough, you end up providing login information for that site.
Yeah, and there are some complications with this, where you get some traffic traveling outside the tunnel, but it looks to you as though everything is still okay.
Yes.
And the traffic that travels is not necessarily exactly the content you're trying to transfer. It's information about that content and about where it's headed.
And if you're in restricted countries that restrict where you can go on the internet, it reveals your real IP address. So
Right.
they know if you are in country like Iran, North Korea, China, and Russia, just for starters.
Well, none of us are doing that.
We may not, but doesn't mean
Anyone
that.
here? Does anyone here in this group use a VPN?
Yes.
Show of hands. We got two users. Oh, you two could be wasting your money.
No. Guarantee you it's not.
Wait, why? I've heard a lot of comments recently that I'm wasting my money on the VPN.
See, right now, this code that was created is in the hands of the researchers. They hopefully would never release that and never get hacked to get a hold of the code. But that doesn't stop other people who are very knowledgeable from figuring out how to do the same damn thing.
And
Then
they've had since 2002, so maybe somebody already has figured it out.
that's right.
20
Like
years
China.
They may have come up with these keys.
China knows if you're using a VPN and going outside the country.
Yeah, but they're using other methods.
Oh, yeah.
They channel all internet traffic through their servers.
That's right.
And that includes anything that would go to a VPN.
Right.
And their servers have special tools.
Well, it's like the NSA.
NSA with cooperation from what was then AT&T or Mobile. That is over.
Okay. Shall we move on?
What about that bot it?
Okay, that was the next one I wanted to bring up, so I got that screen. Let me pull up that. Come on. So I heard about this, it was actually brought up on a TV a tech show, and it's called Bot It. The idea behind here is that if you wanted to go get concert tickets for Taylor Swift or somebody, you're going to be competing against all these companies that have go out that buy up all the tickets, and you'll never get a chance to get that Taylor Swift tickets. But this company says, why not? Why can't you be able to write your own bot to do that exact same thing and be able to shop for those tickets for the show that you want to get? And that's what this Bot It site does. For a fee, they allow you to write your own bots. And it could be anything from concert, you reserve a table at a fancy restaurant and it's hard to get into. Let's say maybe even make a reservation at the National Park Service campgrounds that are almost impossible to get into. This is one way you could do that with this service. And it's supposed to be made that, you know, the average person can do this. It's nothing technical. They've kind of tried to make it as simple as possible. I did not test this out. I remember I saw about it, saw this, and thought it would be a good subject for somebody to investigate and let us know how this works. So we're looking for a presenter to grasp this idea.
Didn't Taylor Swift say that she was blocking bots for her stuff?
And you know, I just used her as an example. It doesn't have to be Taylor Swift. It could be anybody, maybe YouTube, or you know, Share or whoever you want to go see. That tickets are real hard to get. Or like I said, no parks. So these are the things that it offers. It's supposed to be real simple, easy to do, secure, and testimonials. And here's the pricing. I see there's a rate of $25 a month, allows you to create up to 5 bots, custom. All these, you want golf, tennis, pickleball. Maybe in your area it's hard to get into these courts or locations. Camping, no, it doesn't have camping. I didn't like that. You have to get their Pro Plus. That's too. That will do.
Whoa.
So this is Bot It. I think it's a cool concept. Anyone want to take the reign with that? Made it for a month and say, hey, I tried it out because I have to go get those golf tee times somewhere. Okay.
Man,
Don't everyone jump up and say me. Wayne, come on, Wayne.
You're betting
a
1,000.
Man.
I don't golf. I don't pickleball. I don't do any of that stuff.
Mm.
Do you still breathe?
Yeah.
Well, now you got something there you can automate.
Okay.
The only thing here on the island that's hard to really get into is the sunrise parking at Haleakala.
Okay.
You have to get, there's only limited parking up there, and it's probably a 1 month wait.
Really? You have to buy tickets in advance?
Really? Yes.
Okay,
you can't drive up there to see the sunrise. And I've frozen up there once already. I've seen it.
Yeah.
So unless I have somebody else that's going to pay the full ticket, you know, like somebody comes over from the mainland that wants to do it in a specific week.
How much is the ticket?
I don't know what the ticket price is.
Oh, well, now that would help. It might be $5, and then who cares, you know?
Yeah, but then is it worth the price of the bot?
Oh, this is true. No.
How does the bot work? I mean, does it use your credit card? What?
I don't know. I didn't try to use this, but I suspect that you probably set up the parameters, the site you needed to look, what you needed to look for, maybe the pay, and probably give it a credit card to let you do it, or it comes back and gets you in and you do it. I don't know. I can't answer that one, Wayne. That's why you could check this out and let us know in a couple of months how this works.
I There's nothing I'm interested in.
Just setting up the service will get your credit card information to them, and then the credit card information will probably be folded into the bot if it's needed to make a reservation.
That would be a logical way of putting it.
Yeah, all that these bots are really trying to do is make many requests very fast.
Right.
And you can be blocked from some sites for doing that.
Right. And
But it's only your bot that gets blocked, not yourself.
Right. The bots also have ways of getting around those things. I guess. I don't know.
No, they don't.
no,
Okay.
you're just trying.
What happens is places like Ticketmaster, I kind of fast track certain bots that they already know the identities of, and these are the bots used by brokers. And the brokers can get whatever they want, and they usually snap up everything. And it happens so fast.
Yeah.
I question whether this would work for something like Taylor Swift, even if they allowed it. Because that's just so popular.
Well, anyways, that was bot it. Shall we go on to the next subject?
What we really ought to do is use some kind of a bot to set up a bunch of Twitter accounts.
Hasn't that already been done?
Twitter is
That's
gone.
the question. Has it been done? We don't know.
Well, I thought that was the thing I thought that's what they found out, that there was a lot of bots involved there.
Well,
there was a whole discussion about that between the old Twitter management and the new owner and their lawyers. It was never really truly resolved.
If you aren't aware of it, Elon Musk is putting a lot of his money into developing his own AI.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's not the point. He is also trying to ban or fine people who use what are called engagement algorithms, which are like bots, but they're a little different. The engagement algorithms trick the system in such a way that without any meaningful interaction taking place, people get a whole bunch of likes or follows or things, and they can monetize these in certain accounts. And what people are arguing back is, yeah, but the platform itself already does this, so why can't we? And the owner is saying, well, my house, my rules.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's not exactly bots, but it's engagement algorithms. And we should all be aware that whenever we're on social media, the platform and many of the users and all of the advertisers are trying to use tools that will keep us engaged, keep us on the platform, keep us clicking through certain things, and keep certain things high on our feed. And we are being influenced that way, and our information is being bought and sold that way. It's called the surveillance economy, and there's been a book about it. Just something we all need to be aware of so that we can monitor our use of social media if we use them. And make sure we're not getting caught up in some of this.
Is that book Surveillance Capitalism? Is that the name of it?
Yes, Surveillance Capitalism.
A very good book. I read it. Yeah. Very informative.
Mm-hmm. So that's bots and engagement algorithms.
Okay. Moving.
Do we have any time left?
It's only 3:00 here.
Oh, we got plenty of time then.
Yeah, we can go on for another 6 hours.
Meeting hasn't started yet.
You're in a time warp. It already started, but the rest of the world doesn't know it yet.
Let's do the time warp again.
Chronosynclastic infundibulum.
Okay, so we do one more, the petabit scale optical disc.
See my workstation?
That's about 5 down.
Yeah, I'm outside looking I'm looking at this firewall here.
I'm getting very low volume from Sanford.
Well, he's having
I
internet
said, well,
problems.
probably 'cause way up. Oh,
You were away from the microphone,
nice fire.
but your internet is also a bit iffy.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, the new optical disc technology that's about the 6th or 7th one down. Petabit scale.
Yeah.
An optical disc, is that like a CD?
Yeah, DVD,
Yeah.
the successor to a DVD anyway.
This says it can store 15,000 DVDs.
Yeah, it's a super thing, but how fast it is another question.
Yeah.
Well, when you're talking about mass storage, many times you don't care about speed.
Do we assume we need a different reader?
Yeah, but what you get concerned about, especially with very dense data packed onto these things, is durability, whether or not they age well.
Right. Because if it's optical, then it's questionable how long it would last if you can write your own stuff.
Wow. It could hold 16 terabytes?
Yeah.
No. Oh, wait.
You need that for your video library.
It can store over 2 petabytes, I think it's.
No, it says here 2. All right.
That's a lot of data.
Wait, hold on. Continue reading.
It's a large number of terabytes.
125.
Oh, wait, they said it at
Terabyte.
the beginning how much it could hold. Oh, 15,000 DVDs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
a DVD is 7.5 gigabytes.
Okay.
So let's see if they tell you here how much it actually could hold. So using some kind of nanoscale technology,
Yes, they are.
to retrieve 100 layers of data, 1 micron apart. Ooh.
Yeah. That's why there's a question, how long is the shelf life?
Right.
It's petabit.
Blu-rays.
They say it's petabit scale. Now, there were other articles that gave more detail.
Yeah, this one in particular doesn't tell you how much they're.
Yes, it does. 125 terabytes.
125 terabyte DVD.
Yep.
Yeah.
By contrast, Blu-ray can store 25 gig.
Wow. Right.
And some hard drives can store 16 terabytes.
Yeah.
Well, that's for sure.
Well,
So does that mean the Library of Congress could go on one of these DVDs?
no.
Presently, no.
With all the BS that our politicians do, you'd have to have a whole array of these drives.
Yeah. There's a lot of government stuff.
I thought the Library of Congress was like 125 terabytes.
It would make a good short-term drive for the NSA to stream.
Yeah, and there's a link to an article which not everybody can. Well, there's an abstract to an article that was written about it. And I have seen more exhaustive articles on this one.
By the way, just to toss in one more thing. If anybody is interested in the bot for automating some things, they should look at Windows Power Automate, which allows you to automate web and desktop things that you do on a regular basis.
Yeah, I've got that. I just haven't
Yeah, I
brought
know.
myself to try to program it yet.
I haven't messed with it myself. I don't think of it usually, but this power it, this bot it, uh, triggered my memory.
Yeah, if you knew what you were trying to program into it, you could do that with Power Automate.
Well, I mean, for example, I might have it go to a website that I do bill paying on and have it pay the bill by going through the process. And after that, I've got this automation little program. You double click it and execute it, and it does it for you thereafter.
It's not this one that you called Power Automate. It's called, what is it, Power It?
No. You have bought it, and it triggered my memory on Power Automate that's part of Windows.
Yeah, well, I'm on the Power Automate, and it looks more like it's a corporate product.
It's if you go into Microsoft's store, type in Power Automate, and look at the description. It'll tell you you can use it to create automation of websites and desktop applications. That means anybody can use it for anything.
So now you want me to look for Power Automate.
It's already installed on my computer.
Yeah, it comes on 11 and a lot of times on 10, but a lot of the 10s, I removed it. Oh, you did a regular lookup. You didn't go into the Microsoft store.
Yes, I
Yeah, I
did.
went to
I just did the
Microsoft store.
Microsoft Store and typed in Power Automate, and this is what it brought me to.
Well, that's not what it brought me to on my system.
Oh, okay. So why don't
there.
you show us what you found? How you got?
I don't have the machine that I used for that, and I'm recording on the other machines.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't get there that way. Microsoft Store deals.
Okay, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the apps, the Microsoft Store apps.
Yeah.
When I went to Microsoft Store and went into the apps, it shows it's already installed.
Yeah,
on
well,
my
that's
machine.
because it came on 10 and 11. I happen to remove it on my 10s, but I haven't touched it on my 11s.
Sanford, are you on Windows?
I am in Windows.
Well, there's a,
You got a regular icon for Microsoft Store unless you remove
Oh, you want me to go there? Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I just
that's
Googled
Microsoft
it.
Store.
Why is there?
Yeah.
There we go. Where's Store? There it is.
Now, we're not going to see it unless you share.
I will.
Yes.
All right. So then I need to search for
Power A.
Power Automate.
Yeah. Right there. Fourth one down.
Oh.
There you go.
The first one in the upper left corner.
Yeah.
Click on that.
It's not installed on your machine.
And now scroll down in the right side of the screen and look at the description there. Power Automate allows you to automate web and desktop applications on your Windows desktop by mimicking the user interface actions like clicks and keyboard input. You can also combine these actions with predefined support for applications like Excel and help automate repetitive tasks.
Okay, so it looks like it's a macro generator.
Kind of, yes, so to speak. but it's creating a kind of like I'll say a shortcut that all you have to do is execute the shortcut, and it does whatever that thing was designed to do by you.
Is it like an if then that?
Pardon me?
Is it like an if then that program?
In a certain sense, yes, but I haven't gotten into the details, so I can't say specifically.
Sanford, go to the features and click on the show more.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, let me go back there.
Yeah, this looks pretty interesting.
Right under the Chinese.
Oh, this has been around for a number of years, but I think most people have no clue what it is and what you would do with it. But they keep
talking about features.
It looks like that uses that recorder type thing, and then it's got some kind of flowchart thing to look at.
Yeah, the macro recorder like is what's in Excel and some of the other Office apps.
Yeah, it looks like it goes across real time, across web and desktop.
Yeah. So you can any repetitive task that you do pretty regularly, you could probably make up an automated macro, and all you have to do is execute the macro. It does the work for you. Or you
And
could
it's
put
across different programs.
or you could put it, a startup item into the scheduler or your startup folder, and every time you boot up the computer or whenever the scheduler is set to execute it, it will do it automatically for you.
So would this be similar to a cron job in Linux, or more like a batch file where it would do a pre-assigned task?
It goes across the web.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh. My buddy looked it up. He says it only works on Microsoft products. With Microsoft products, if you're going to do end-to-end.
That's a possibility. Like I said, I haven't gotten into it myself because I keep forgetting about the damn thing and get too tied up on at other times. Totally forget it until your article jarred my memory.
So you couldn't use it to like log into some sort of system then?
Well, you can use it if you use Edge as an example. That's a Microsoft product. Therefore, you can automate anything you do in Edge. Now, if you've got Chrome, Firefox, etc., it may not work from what was said there. So, how much you can get automated, I don't know, but that's something you have to start doing some research to find out. You might find it useful, you might not. I don't know.
But if you don't know about it, you don't know to be able to research it.
But it's been there for years, Jeff. I'm serious when I say that. Most people, no matter what, they get a brand new machine. They don't look at anything on that machine other than what they want to do, and anything else that's there that they could use and do something they do better and faster, they don't even bother with. They just ignore it. Same on their smartphones and tablets. Look at the pre-installed applications. They just leave them sit there in most cases. A few of them maybe delete them.
Off tangents. Let's go back to our next subject. Someone else would like to pick something off the list, please.
Wake me up when you got a new topic.
What about the 5 most important things to know on your task manager?
Okay, let's find that one.
Oh, it's in the main body, third one down.
I got it. Just got to pull it up on my search.
Okay. So we've got, okay, task manager. I'm assuming everybody here knows how to bring up manager.
Yeah.
Is there, who does not? And I got to pull up a view of everybody. Sorry. Does anyone here not know how to pull up task manager? Okay, we all do. Good. So, task manager, bring it up by Control Alt Delete. It's the easy way. Here. Oh, yeah, the Control Alt Delete. You have the startup process that you can manage in there.
Yeah.
Sure, task manager.
And in Windows 11, it's a simple right click on any empty spot on your taskbar.
Okay.
Tim,
You can access performance and resource data.
now that's one that I mentioned before. If you on that left-hand column, if you double click any one of those performance things, you will get a shrunken version of just those graphs there, so that you can watch the activity of your computer.
Right.
And then you double click it again, and it returns to the normal task manager view.
Search online. Oh, if you right click on it, you can, on the item, Bing will pull up a online search for you and tell you what it is, as long as you're connected to the internet.
Well, that's
more column details.
Details is getting into performance, your CPU usage, memory usage, disk usage, network usage, and if you have a GPU, graphics processing unit, it tells you, shows you a graph of the activity of that. And when you're in the task manager, it gives you details about each one of those things. What processor you're using, maybe the type of memory you're using and its speed, et cetera, et cetera.
I wonder if
even if you have no discrete graphics, but you have onboard graphics, sometimes that will also show up as GPU 0.
That's because the type of graphic processor in the newer systems will show up like a GPU, but they're using your main memory for the video content.
Yeah, and it's built into the CPU.
Right.
All right,
but
so
I just simply noticed that my Intel UHD graphics did show up as having various features.
Being on 10, if you click the second tab, Performance. Okay, now you're on memory. In the upper right, it says you got 12 gigabytes of memory. Down below, you have 8.1 gigabytes free, used currently. You have 3.7 gigabytes free. You got so much in cache, and it also shows you paged amount of memory put onto your storage device at 589 megabytes right now. Now, also, the speed of your memory is 3200 megahertz or 3.2 gigahertz. Now, if you click on CPU, it'll tell you some information about your CPU. Same for your disk. So you got an 11th gen Core i7, and it's a 2.8 gigahertz, and you're bouncing around between 45 and 55 percent. Your speed is currently a little over 4 gigahertz. You got 3,600 plus threads. and over 112,000 handles. And then you go down to disk, Wi-Fi, GPU. That gives you statistics. Now that GPU is trying to help your CPU by offloading software that would have to be run on older CPUs to display anything and everything on your screen.
Yeah, in his case, as in mine, that's actually onboard graphics.
Yes, but it's off. If you don't have a GPU showing up in this list, then your computer is designed to run software to do the graphics rendering through the CPU.
Yeah, and then what you see is instead is GPU memory and shared GPU memory.
Right.
And those are identical if you have onboard graphics.
Yes.
But if you have discrete graphics, you'll see a larger GPU memory.
Yeah, and for example, in the two machines in front of me, I've got graphic cards. They only have 2 gigabits of memory, but that means my CPU is not being taxed to render everything I see on my screen.
Yeah, the other thing people have criticized about the performance monitor for CPU is in multi-threading CPUs like Sanford has and like I have, it tends to try to mush everything together in a way that gives inaccurate numbers.
Yes.
Numbers which don't really indicate the full load, or they over-indicate.
Yeah, it's notorious for over and underestimating more than being accurate.
Yeah, I have had widgets on various computers that show much more precisely what's really going on with both the overall CPU and with the cores and the hyperthreads. I have more tools in Linux for that than I have in Windows.
Yeah, yeah.
I found the startup to be most useful because you don't realize what's being started when you turn your machine on, and you can always get to those things later for the most part.
Yeah, startup management is very important for optimizing performance. And you also want to pay attention to background processes, which may not be listed as startups, but they may be going on anyway. Google Chrome is notorious for doing that, and there are certain apps that do that.
And to disable background apps is much harder in 11 than it is in 10. 10 is simple, straightforward. 11 is a pain in the butt. You have to go to the apps section in settings, and you have to go one individual item at a time to tell it not to run in background process. And some things don't give you that option that in 10 you could disable in background.
Yeah, you could probably get some third-party software that could do the job more efficiently.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I think, doesn't CCleaner have some ability to look into that?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Anyone else have any more questions about Task Manager? Navigating how to use, I didn't show how to close a task out. Does anyone want to know how to do that, or are we all familiar on how to shut down a task? Okay, good.
You better be careful doing it. If you don't know what you're doing, I do not advise it, because you could kill your current session if you're not careful.
Yeah,
There
you can
used to
always
be
reboot your machine too.
Yes, but it's
You could reboot.
you may not
Yeah,
have
reboot and it puts
everything
it back to
saved.
where it was.
You may not have everything saved though, and it may not let you.
True, very true. And I don't particularly feel like closing out anything or shutting it because meeting tonight.
Yeah.
So
The about tasks. Oh yeah, the necessary Windows tasks. You can take the most important ones and exclude them.
Yes. But that's getting to another level of detail that 99.9% of the people aren't ever going to try and figure out how to do it, let alone do it.
Also, on startups, I think you get warned if you're trying to prevent a necessary task from starting up.
Yeah.
So there are a few safeguards, but you do have to be careful.
Well, I mean, it's like services in Windows. You can disable anything you want to, but your system may stop running.
Right.
We're disabling a startup app is handy is if you're in a lot of social media and they want to start up the minute you start up the machine, you can actually disable the individual, like Discord server. If you're on Discord and you fire up a machine straight, it wants to go to the server right away and
most of them,
but you can disable that in startup and it goes away.
Most of those things you should always inspect when you are installing new software if it puts something in the startup folder. 90 some odd percent of what gets put in the startup folder is not needed, and you can still run whatever the program is. That includes OneDrive, probably that Discord, and almost anything else. So there's a ton of stuff I automatically disable in the startup folder right off the bat. The next thing you have to look at is scheduled programs.
Yes.
Because there you may be running some things on a delayed basis that you don't even know are running, that are taking up resources that don't need to be done.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of scheduled tasks, has anybody ever seen Windows 11 actually finish scheduled maintenance?
No.
Neither have I. You can turn it on, but it just keeps going and going and going.
That's partly that is 100% true, because it's always looking for, shall we say, trash that it can get rid of, especially like all the temp files that are created by the operating system and your application programs that once they have been used and are no longer needed, I can get rid of them.
Yeah, another thing that automatic maintenance used to do is develop system reliability data.
Yeah.
And then you could tell if you've got a problem that's starting to get worse.
I would mention that I use OneDrive a lot, and OneDrive has a recycle bin. And sometimes you don't realize it, but there's stuff in there in a recycle bin which you need, which you didn't realize got in there. And so before deleting and clearing that recycle bin, I would always want to check that it's, what's in there and it's what you wanted to get removed.
Well, that also applies to G Drive from Google. It also applies to a lot of other online features and your desktop. You have a trash bin there too. Before you empty it, you should look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, in web apps, it is very easy for something to be automatically thrown into recycle, and you didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
And you need it. My webmail does that constantly. Every time I download from the webmail with a client, I find trash has 100 items in it.
I also find that once in a while on the mail side, things wind up in archive when I didn't put there.
Well, it's not that you didn't put it there, it's that you didn't think you clicked on that. You know, it's this old adage about my computer didn't do what I wanted it to. It only did what I told it to.
Well, since I never click on archive, and stuff winds up in there once in a while, it's something in the just default goes to, puts it there when it doesn't know what else to do.
There may be defaults that do that.
Yes, and that can be in scheduled task or something else that automates it.
Or something in the web interface or the web app
Yeah.
may just be doing that. I have stuff that goes into spam that shouldn't go there. That's because it didn't authenticate through the correct little piece of authentication. And that's because somebody hasn't caught up with their mail sending service. It's usually some kind of a mail list that does a lot of messages from the same address. So yeah, you got to watch out for these things. And getting back to tasks and background, if you can limit these things, the ones that you really don't want to go on, you can improve the stability of things like Zoom. You can improve your video stability and your internet. You'll use less internet, perhaps. And you won't be taxing your hardware as much and you'll have less overheating.
Well, also, there are some services that Microsoft automatically sets up as either automatic delayed, and those always come up, but not all of them are really needed by the majority of people. So if you learn which ones you don't need, you can turn them to disabled, and that means you're not taking time to find and load those services into memory and run them, and they're not taking up memory also.
Yeah, I have a beautiful story that's not a Windows story, so I won't go into detail, but it's about how an indexing service causes some real issues with data transfers when you have a large amount of data to transfer if that indexing service isn't written correctly. This happens to exist all over Linux. It's the most common indexer there. But in Windows, the indexer is actually pretty efficient. Still, many people like to turn off indexing, particularly on SSDs, so as to reduce wear.
It is mostly for the older SSDs to prevent them from burning out too early. Newer stuff may have a greater tolerance to indexing.
Mm-hmm.
Harry, do you clear your spam every day?
I clear spam when it gets
Terry.
big. Oh, Harry.
Terry.
Terry.
Terry Moy.
You're on mute.
I'm here.
Do you clear your spam every day?
No. Because he doesn't even know what it is.
Email
I know what
spam.
spam is. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you respond to the email I sent you?
No.
Oh, when did you send the email?
2 days ago?
You sent that out Saturday. That's more than 2 days ago.
Oh, you're talking about the survey.
Yeah.
I saw it. I haven't responded yet.
Gee, wait until after we've already done the survey and then respond back to it.
Oh.
Is this something everybody got?
Yes.
No, this is something just for Terry. And he was supposed to respond immediately.
I'll do it tomorrow.
So
I got this. Well, I got somebody swipes out my card, so I got a little problem there.
Mm-hmm. In any event, this survey then was not for the general membership of CCS. Just sent to a few. Okay. But anyway, that's about clearing out spam, and how often do we do it?
I usually only do it about once a month.
If I did
do
that
mine every day.
Yeah, I got plenty. Yeah, but
So
That's a good point. You know, I for myself, it's probably once every 2 weeks. I'll check my spam.
do you know how much spam I would have, at least in my Yahoo mail, after 1 week?
Oh, Yahoo Mail. Oh my God.
Wait a minute, I have Yahoo Mail.
That's a whole different category over
I
there.
got 5 Yahoo accounts, and I only check it once a month at most.
I mean, I normally deal with 50 to 75 a day, spam items a day. But
Yeah, that's
if I don't do it and I miss a day, it gets out of control.
That means
Right.
I'm doing something right, and you guys are not.
Oh, I use this account to sign up for stuff. So it's my.
Yeah, I sign up tons of stuff, at least
What
on one of
Yahoo
the
accounts are
accounts.
good for. You got to give them an email address when you're buying something at Harbor Freight or something like that. That's what a Yahoo account's good for.
If I want an email that won't get anything I don't want in it, I have a paid service, Fastmail.
Oh heck,
And hardly anybody even knows it exists.
I have alternate addresses on some of my email accounts, and if I don't want any feedback and I got to give them an email address, they get that, and I can kill that alternate address at any time.
I like getting some ads from some places.
Oh yeah, I do too.
And they come in about a few every day. So that's part of what accumulates in spam. But there's also the regular kind of spam. Gmail has that too.
Yeah, and pornography and I want to be your girlfriend and stuff like that. Geez, who needs it?
They gave up on doing that for me.
Oh,
I don't know why.
I'm surprised they haven't done the same for me, but I still get it in my spam folder.
Yeah. Well, they don't do that much of that. For me, it's usually they're trying to get me to get into a business proposition, or it's a package that I need to provide information about, or a service that's going to be terminated, which I never had.
Or a package that you never expect to get because you didn't order something.
Yeah, or you're about to be charged $500 for antivirus.
Oh yeah, I've had that with Norton.
Oh yeah, I get those all the time. You've been billed, $500 for some invoice or whatever.
Yeah.
I just
Hold on here.
And they're always at Gmail. Some crazy.
They're all over the place. It isn't just Gmail. They got them all over the place.
Yeah.
A lot of those.
I get them on Gmail. If the to and from are from both the same from your address.
I don't get much of that.
I get some, but not much.
Well, I got the first one because they wanted right away. They wanted your bank account number, and I said, "Whoa, oh,
why not?
Yeah.
Give it to them. Just use somebody else's bank account number."
Yeah.
Now, there was a recent breach from the IRS.
Yeah, how about
Nobody
Trump?
knows how many-
I said Trump's.
They got.
I am more worried about what happened with a breach from AT&T because they used to take your social security number.
Oh yeah, there's nothing that's not out there.
And I've seen a couple of medical data breaches.
Oh, there's tons of them. That and insurance companies.
Yeah, those are where you're going to have some sensitive stuff.
Well, I haven't seen a full social security number. Basically, everything is showing what the last 4 digits now.
Yeah, but they can guess the other part.
They have the other digits.
Yeah, they got all the digits of your social security number, I guarantee you, out on the dark web. That's an absolute 100% guarantee.
Yeah, but anyway, due to several recent data breaches, I have various monitoring services, so I can watch all this happening in real time.
Well, I haven't seen
Not that I can do anything about it.
So,
What was that, Terry?
Do you find those monitoring services helpful? Do they give you any information?
Trouble is,
do something with?
they only tell you what has happened. Unless you put a lock on your credit, they don't allow you to be proactive.
Right. That's the only option you got. And anytime you're going to make any kind of a large purchase, you have to unfreeze your account first, then
Yeah.
make the purchase, and then refreeze it.
Yeah,
Just remember, anytime somebody calls you and says there's a breach on your system or, somebody broke into your account, hang up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
good advice.
on credit freeze, you have to do it to all 3 agencies.
yes.
And then there's a fourth one that nobody knows about.
Well, there's actually more than that, because there are a lot of little subsystems floating around that certain businesses prefer to use, probably because it's cheaper. And the end result is those may still be active because you don't even know what ones are there and how to get into them to freeze your account.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
Well, when I get Burt, sometimes, we make a large deposit and the next day there's a false, credit card charge and it goes through.
Well, most of the time it's not that quick, but
Oh, no, the next day after the bank, somebody at the bank is, tipping off the bank guys.
There's
But
so
at
many
more than one
scams
bank,
out
too.
there now that you can't tell. There's really, it's a professional business, and there's scams to be able to cheat you one way or another. Certainly, if anybody tells you you need to move your money to a special account or whatever, or we gotta take it to because somebody's getting into your money, that's the time to hang up.
yeah, well, also you have to understand that these people are following P.T. Barnum's famous statement. There's a sucker born every minute.
Okay, we have time probably for one more topic. Someone would like to pick something out of our group? Of our list? Come on, I work hard at putting this together, and Tim works even harder getting it to me.
Tim doesn't
Being
do
up with our
anything.
links, it's much appreciated. We can take a look at it a little bit ahead of time and know what we're gonna be talking about.
Tim doesn't do anything. Tim just sits here.
How about hidden trackers?
Yes.
Hidden trackers. Okay, let's see what we got for hidden trackers.
Let's see what that is. Oh, hidden trackers in the web browser.
Well, I don't know of other trackers that aren't from a web browser.
What the hell is that? Try this
Oh,
again.
by the way, that link is no good. It's a Yahoo Mail link. It's an
Yeah,
internal.
I just noticed that when I tried putting it in there, it took me to Yahoo Mail. So, oops.
Just a
Sent me a
moment.
bad one.
How to delete hidden trackers that invade your browser, USA Today?
Oh, did you find it on Tim's list?
Kim Commando.
Kim Commando. Okay, why don't you pull it up and we'll follow you could take over the speech.
Alrighty, just a moment. I shall do that as soon as I do this and share. And let's share the whole screen. Share. Okay, so I don't know if I can get you guys out of the way. There we go. Let me put this up at the top of my browser. Okay, so hidden trackers invade your browser. Here's how to delete them. Kim Commando. The bad kind of cookies. Cookies as a trail you leave behind online. And first-party cookies, I think we all know what those are when you visit a website. And cookies can be invasive. First-party cookies can preserve your site login data, various other kinds of things, so they can be useful. But cookies can also be invasive. You can be tracked by cookies from site to site. And advertisers love cookies because it helps them customize ads that you see. You may or may not like to have customized ads. I personally don't care one way or the other, but some people don't like them. You can block third-party cookies through your browser. Does everybody know about third-party cookie blocking? Anybody have questions about that?
How do you do that?
Have you heard of things like Ghostery or like MuBlock Origin? These are browser extensions. AdBlock.
And also Badger. That's another one.
Yeah, Badger has its own way of doing things. Basically, what these are doing is preventing certain kinds of cookies from being placed, or else it removes them as soon as you leave a website or a web page. And this means the advertisers. There's also something called ad choices and web choices, where you can put yourself on a do not track kind of a list. That's really not effective. It prevents them from it prevents the honest ones from doing what they do, but it doesn't prevent the ones that are less honest.
One other thing is with the ad blockers, a lot of sites more and more are saying, I see you have an ad blocker. We need the advertising to pay for what you are looking for. And please turn off your ad blocker or put in an exception for our site into the ad blocker.
Or you can continue to keep using it, blocking the.
Only on some, not all.
Yeah, very true, but I'm just saying you can do that.
And this article also says how to use web choices to customize the ads you see. And there's something similar inside of Ghostery if you use that extension.
Right.
So you can select what you're going to block. I block everything. You can opt out of all and then submit your choices. And it's something like 144 different tracking cookies that this can control, which is really very few compared with how many there really are out there.
And DoubleClick is one of the big offenders. I know that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rest of this is about some other stuff. Google updates. Google updating its photos to redesign memories. So that's what's in there. Shall I fetch the URL and put it in chat?
Yep, go ahead and put that in chat, and we'll conclude our meeting.
All right, let me get this.
Anyone have any last questions or comments?
Let me stop the share so I can do this. All right.
All right. And Tim, you were saying that the next meeting will be the Northwest meeting?
Yes, on Thursday.
Northwest Club?
And a week from
Thursday,
tonight.
and then South Suburban?
A week from tonight is South Side. And 2 weeks from tonight is the Linux SIG.
Okay. Hope everyone can make those meetings. And Bob is posting this one.
Just a moment.
No pressure.
All right, that should do it as soon as I.
Don't have to get it done right away.
Editing a typo. Here we go. There it is. Now Tim can copy it and put it into his more FYI corrections.
Yeah, baloney. I don't guarantee anything on that, and for the amount of time it takes to do that stuff, it's a miracle there aren't a lot more problems.
Yeah, I know. You do a good job, Tim.
Yes.
Well,
he does a great job, and we all thank him very much.
Like that bad URL, it's usually a case where I'm getting too tired, and I'm not smart enough to say, let's put this to the side for the time being and get some rest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sounds like me updating.
With this, I'm going to conclude tonight's meeting. And
recording